Today, thousands of people fill the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Conference Center to honor the life and legacy of President Russell M. Nelson. Heidi Hatch joining us live now tonight from Temple Square. Heidi, how was President Nelson remembered?
Well, he was remembered today by thousands who were here and millions around the world as a president, as a prophet, but also as a father and surgeon, many different aspects of his life that we hadn't heard about before. In his 101 years, it seems he had boundless energy for everything he was involved in, touching millions of lives, saving thousands of others possibly through his surgeries. We heard today from his children and apostles about their intimate moments with the man that many others only saw as a president and prophet. He was remembered also for his bold and decisive action as he transitioned from an apostle to president 7 years ago.
To millions the world over, President Russell M. Nelson was a modern-day prophet. To his 10 children, a man who always chose joy.
I remember many times, especially on particularly beautiful bluebird snow ski days, we would sit on the ski lift looking at the beautiful surroundings, and he would take a deep breath and say, "Girls, the church is true."
Long walks and talks, his perfect pitch, popcorn on Sundays, and tagging along on work trips.
We visited England, Wales, Germany, Poland, Czech Republic, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, and Finland. After about 10 or so days, I recall thinking to myself, I was exhausted, and I was only 14 years old. At the time, he was in his 60s and carried on with no problem.
His son and namesake, Russell M. Nelson Jr., noting there was no rest in his father's version of the restoration and his sole focus on ministering to the one.
Every time we were together, he looked me directly in the eyes, and I felt deeply through him that Heavenly Father and his Son, Jesus Christ, know and love me.
Beloved by both young and old.
And he loved the rising generation.
Many in attendance today and across the state of Utah with a story about Nelson, the renowned heart surgeon, saving a loved one's life.
My own dear mother was the recipient of Dr. Nelson's talents, as she underwent many operations under his hand that extended her life.
Above all, remembered as a man who lived his life in service, in a supporting role for decades until he was called as prophet, wasting no time taking on a decisive role as leader with the skill of a surgeon and the heart of a prophet.
Figuratively speaking, I tightened my seatbelt a few more notches and said to myself, being a counselor in this first presidency is going to be fun.
Thousands of people taking time out of their days today. Just a couple hours ago, thousands of people lining this street to pay their final respects to President Nelson before he left to the cemetery. Jim, you've been out here all day long talking to people about why they wanted to make sure they took time out today specifically to be here in person.
And your report mentioned it as well. We've been talking to people both young and old. Just so many people came out here today. They wanted to pay their respects in person because they felt like he really had an impact on their lives. One family in particular that really stuck out to me was the Lee family. They had 5 members of their family here. 2 of their children were away at college, so they weren't able to be here in person. But I asked each and every one about what they took away from the funeral. This was shortly after. And you talked with the minor children, and they basically said that he was the prophet. Nelson was the prophet for most of their life. That's really the only prophet that they could remember during their lifetime. Talked to the father. He said that he met President Nelson several times and just talked about how he was so compassionate in person. And then I asked the mother what her takeaway was. Here's what she had to say.
Made me want to be just a better mom, just an overall better person, a better member of the church, and just serve more. I was actually sitting thinking, okay, of all the things that I knew I could do better that he had invited us to do in the past. And so I was just really moved.
That's one of the things I heard from so many people. You probably did too, Heidi. He made people want to be better. Even after his passing, people left here today saying, I can be better in my life.
And even just being kind to one person. And today, you'll notice behind us the flag here, the state flag's at half staff. Other flags across the state are flying at half staff until the sun sets tonight. But thousands of people here, like we said, not very long ago, lining the streets as his family left. More than 300 family members, quite a posterity. We were wondering how long that motorcade and the procession would be. Ended up they had some double-decker buses, so they were able to move the family pretty quickly out of the area. But a beautiful service today.
Yeah, and one final note, you know, I heard so many people say that they knew someone personally that he operated on as a heart surgeon. My son had heart surgery at a week old. This was in a different state. So while we didn't have a direct impact, you made a great point, he probably impacted us indirectly because he pioneered the field.
He pioneered the field. He wrote in many of the books that students learn in when they go to medical school, and affects how people learn when they go up to the University of Utah now. So his reach has been felt around the world and really across those who practice in medicine. We're live out here at Temple Square in the Conference Center. Back to you in the studio.
Heidi and Jim.